First at 9 this Monday, the 31st of March 2025. Final warning. Corrupt state officials will be fired, warns President Anura Dissanayake. Iran's Inquisition. Former Public Security Minister questioned by the CID under suspicion of involvement in the fatal 2023 Waligama shooting. Energy prices revised. Sipetco and Laugh gas prices revised effective from midnight tonight. In contempt. Lawyer arrested and detained over contempt of court. Bar Association of Sri Lanka calls for the Contempt of Court Act of 2024 to be amended or rescinded.
Chilo Dairy, Sri Lankawama Kiren Perata. Obe Vishwasi Dinu Sensorain, then Lagamati Pharmacy in Labata Hacker.
Kanta Parisankaragato? Ape Parisan.
ඉතින් මොකටද නිකන් නාගන්නේ?
ස්වදේශී කොහොඹ ලෙමන් ග්‍රාස් අද කාලෙට ෆ්‍රෙෂ්ම විසඳුම.
From Derana, this is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to Derana First at 9. I'm Aditya Adrisinghe joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world, brought to you by the only Sri Lankan media network to rise to the pinnacle across all media platforms, recognized as the best by every survey and beloved by the people. Now in your top story tonight, the Muslim community across Sri Lanka celebrated the holy month of Ramadan or Eid-al-Fitr today, marking the end of 30 days of fasting. Following the sighting of the crescent moon yesterday, the Colombo Grand Mosque declared today the day of festivities. Meanwhile, in his Eid message today, President Anura Dissanayake highlighted that the teachings of Islam serve as guiding principles in the collective journey towards a just and harmonious society. Sri Lanka's Muslim community celebrated the holy festival of Ramadan today, marking the end of the 30-day period of fasting, prayer and reflection. During this period, Muslims are required to fast in order to show compassion for the suffering of the poor, give charitably and express kindness and practice patience. However, the date and the time of the festival varies depending on the sighting of the crescent moon. With the official sighting of the crescent moon yesterday, the Colombo Grand Mosque announced today as the day of the festival. As such, Muslims across the island celebrated Ramadan today, paying homage to their customs. Meanwhile, President Anura Dissanayake issued his customary Eid greetings to the Muslim community of the country. In his message, the president stated that the teachings of Islam provide an excellent example of building a society rooted in freedom, equality, solidarity, and human dignity, and that these values serve as guiding principles in the collective journey towards a just and harmonious society. The head of state noted that as the country strives to foster a responsible and ethical political culture, the principles of self-restraint and sacrifice emphasized during Ramadan remind the need to cultivate a governance system sensitive to the aspirations and well-being of its people. Prime Minister Dr. Harani Amarasuriya, in her Ramadan message, highlighted that Ramadan embodies the spirit of kindness, forgiveness and charity, and added that these values resonate deeply with all communities, fostering harmony and understanding among people of different faiths and backgrounds. Dr. Amarasuriya further noted that Sri Lanka is a nation rich in diversity, and it is through mutual respect and solidarity that it continues to strengthen our collective future. The leader of the opposition, Sajith Premadasa, says Ramadan brings the message of sacrifice and equality to the world. He noted that as a country we are once again facing many difficulties, and that the Ramadan festival can serve as an example of the guidance needed for everyone to come together to overcome this situation. He emphasized the importance of everyone working together to move towards an inclusive prosperity, which will help the country recover from its current bankruptcy and return to prosperity.
Union Assurance.
චන්දුරුසුමේ කාගෙන් බලා අපේ සිංහ TV සඳහා සුපිරි ඩීල්.
Former Minister of Public Security Derana appeared before the CID today and recorded a nearly 6-hour-long statement over the fatal Waligama shooting in 2023. The former minister's questioning comes off the back of Additional Solicitor General Dilip Peiris's call for investigations against politicians and higher officials who may have assisted suspended IGP Deshabandhu Tennakun sanction the fatal Waligama shooting. The Mathura Magistrates Court issued an arrest warrant against suspended Inspector General of the Police Deshabandhu Tennakun after investigations revealed his involvement in the fatal shootout that occurred around the vicinity of a hotel in Waligama, Mathura in 2023. IGP Deshabandhu Tennakone, who evaded arrest for nearly 20 days despite an outstanding arrest warrant against him, was arrested on the 19th of March and placed in remand custody until the 3rd of April when he submitted himself to court. As the legal matter pertaining to the shooting in question unfolded in court, Additional Solicitor General Dileepa Peeris submitted to court that if any higher official or politician assisted IGP Deshabandhu Tennakone, then such individuals should also be promptly investigated and arrested. Former Minister of Public Security Derana under suspicion of his involvement in the 2023 Waligama shooting, which led to the death of a Colombo Crimes Division police sergeant. Accordingly, the former minister arrived at the CID premises at around 10:40 a.m. this morning. After recording a nearly 6-hour-long statement over the incident, the former minister was seen exiting the CID at around 4:40 p.m. this evening. President Anura Dissanayake states that despite the government's efforts to increase public sector salaries, complaints are still being received over public officials engaging in corrupt activities. Speaking at a public meeting today, the president warned that public officials would lose their jobs if corruption continues. He also claims that following the local government elections, the government has the capacity to allocate funds for local government development projects due to the reduced levels of corruption in the country.
The Monaragala district rally, organised by the National People's Power for the 2025 local government elections, was held this afternoon at the Buttala grounds. The rally was held under the patronage of the leader of the National People's Power, President Anura Dissanayake.
The
local government polls are scheduled to be held on May 6th. What will happen? If there is no doubt, then there is nothing to discuss. It's simple. We will win. Is there any other political alternative for you to choose? No. Currently, many lists are being presented in Parliament regarding compensations for burnt houses, funds for foreign visits, house purchases, and bar permits. Along with that, I received another report that has not yet been presented to Parliament. On the 9th of May, a house was burned down in Sevanagala. However, compensations has not been claimed by the owner. The deed of the land is under one person's name, while the deed of the house is under someone else's name. Yet, compensation has been granted to a member of the Rajpaksha family. That list will be revealed soon. In June, we will establish local government institutions. Send all your requests to the central government. We will provide the necessary funds to resolve them. We have the money. Previously, if you wanted to develop a road which cost only 1 million rupees, you had to spend 2 million rupees. Now we can accomplish twice the work done in the past. However, for that to happen, these local government institutions must prepare proper proposals and submit them. These proposals must be valid and unquestionable. If another party wins the institution, we will have to review each proposal carefully to check how much of a commission is being charged for the project. If corruption is involved, the projects will not proceed. That is why local governments must be given to the NPP. On the other hand, the public still demands justice for corruption. We continue to receive reports of government officials engaging in corrupt practices. We have increased salaries, so I warn them. If you engage in these minor corrupt activities, you will lose the job you struggle so hard to keep. This is how the country must be built. This is a government created by the people through public intervention. Can anyone overthrow this government? No, they cannot, and there is no one who can.
Fast track your career from O-levels with eSoft.
Diabetol සීනි වලින් පරිස්සම් වන ඔබට අමතක නොවන පෝෂණය.
කැලණි වයර් කිසිගින්නක් නැහැ.
කිසිගින්නක් නෑ. කැලණි Fire Shield Wire.
Concerned by the recent surge in gun violence across the country, leader of the opposition and the Samagi Jana Balawege, Sajid Premadasa, pointed out that a program to ensure public safety is of great significance. Speaking at a public meeting in Casbah, the opposition leader noted that the incumbent government lacks competence to combat the persisting violence in the country. In view of the upcoming local government election, the Samagi Jana Balawege organised another public gathering in Casbah. Another shooting was reported from Ambalanthura today. According to the police, this is the 28th shooting reported since the beginning of this year. 22 people have been killed so far. Law and order have eroded today. The gun, sword, bomb and bullet rule over society. Can the incumbent government control this culture of terror? What we need is not a fairy tale. They need to stop deceiving the public with their opulent lies and commanding advocacy. This deception needs to end. The people are not ready to fall for their lies again. The impending local government elections will be a turning point in Sri Lanka. Through the local government institutions, civil defence committees will be established island-wide after we claim our victory at the local government polls. Similarly, security councils should also be established to ensure peace and security in the area. It is also imperative that the residents provide their support to the authorities, including the police, to perform their duties. A program to ensure public safety is of great importance.
Leader of the Sarvajana Balaya parliamentarian Dilith Jayavira says his party has embarked on a journey to establish Sarvajana Sabha, taking on an entrepreneurial approach. Jayavira made these remarks at a meeting in Kegol.
The Kegol district edition of the island-wide series of awareness program organized for local government candidates of the Sarvajana Balaya was held under the patronage of party leader parliamentarian Dilith Jayavira today. Through the Sarvajana Sabha, entrepreneurship of the rural areas are to be developed. We have already presented a plan to empower all villagers. This plan must be discussed within society. All of you are fortunate candidates. When you spread the Sarvajana Balaya's vision, not a soul can say anything against you. There is no advantage for us to receive from doing politics. Therefore, corruption is not a point of concern. We are principled people to begin with. If there is corruption in the society or in politics, these wrongs must be made right. This should corrected through our civility, not by arresting them for prison. We want devoted politics. One thing can be said for sure, at the end, the power of the country is for Sarvajana Balaya.
With that, here's a look at some thoughts shared in the political arena today.
It is clear that the president works according to auspicious times. Why would you need a timeline to reveal perpetrators behind crimes? What does he intend to reveal before the 21st of April? The Cardinal warned that protests would follow if the purported mastermind behind the Easter Sunday terror attacks is not revealed. The president's statement regarding the revelation of the mastermind before the 21st of April is an attempt to keep the Cardinal in church and not at a protest. If this is an attempt to swing the vote their way, that is wrong. There are several Easter Sunday terror attack suspects still in hiding. Their arrests must be made through a transparent procedure without using it as political leverage this election. They have failed to arrest the corrupt, source funds and repatriate the money from Uganda as promised. They have even failed to extradite Arjun Mahendran to Sri Lanka. They also failed to catch the mastermind behind the Easter Sunday terror attacks within 24 hours. They have failed to do what they promised to do over one pen stroke. This government is clearly struggling. So what can they do with the power of the local governments behind their back? They promised to reveal those behind the Easter Sunday terror attacks within the next day or two. There is nothing more to be said actually. The sons of one of their nationalist candidates strapped on suicide vests and blew themselves up. They were residents of Kandy. They keep on spreading lies since they have no agenda. We have no need to conceal corruption or fraud. Our investigating teams act independently. Based on the findings of those investigations, as the president stated, several individuals, including many in the opposition, will have to answer allegations made against them. Our party had 400 files with it. Investigations have been opened on a significant number of those files. Deceiving the public is the most reprehensible form of corruption. The prices of coconuts, which were stable for 76 years, doubled within 6 months. Salt is imported from abroad and sold at exorbitant prices. Unfortunately, we hadn't experienced their incompetence earlier. If we had, we would now have a different government. Our power will increase with the local government institutions behind our backs. Then we can do more for each constituency. It is self-evident that we cannot perform miracles as soon as we assume power. I know you feel the progress we have made so far. However, our foes know that they cannot let us go any further. They must realize that there are 22 million people in Sri Lanka today. They must know that if these people are angered, the government's future is bleak. The local government election is looming ahead. They think that the people will vote for them no matter what reprehensible thing they do. This election cannot topple the government. Will they do what they failed to do with the executive presidency and 2/3 in parliament with the Dehiyovita Pradesh Sabha behind their back?
Now, the recent detention of an attorney at law in remand custody under charges of contempt of court has caused concern among the legal fraternity, with the Bar Association of Sri Lanka successfully invoking the writ jurisdiction of the Court of Appeal and securing an interim injunction in favour of the accused. Hot off the heels of this incident, the Bar Association called on the relevant authorities to make representations to amend or rescind the Contempt of Court Act No. 8 of 2024.
Attorney at law Priyanka Samaratunga was charged under the provisions of the Contempt of Court Act No. 8 of 2024 on the 28th of March by Puttalam High Court Judge Nadia Parna Suwandarugoda. According to reports, Attorney at law Priyanka Samaratunga, who was making submissions on a legal matter before the High Court of Puttalam, willfully made her pleadings without due respect to court. She also allegedly entered the courthouse without bowing to the presiding judge. The attorney at law in question was subsequently arrested after the charge sheet was formally submitted. Representing the accused, attorney at law Nadia Abbas submitted a bail application on behalf of her client. Upon considering the application so made, the Puttalam High Court judge decided to grant bail contingent upon 2 surety bonds, a certificate of residence in the Puttalam area, and an asset declaration valued at 2.5 million rupees. However, since these events transpired in the afternoon on Friday, the accused attorney was not able to meet the conditions of bail ordered by the Puttalam High Court, prompting her to be detained in remand custody. Against this backdrop, President of the Bar Association Rajiv Amrasurya filed an application with the Court of Appeal invoking its writ jurisdiction over the matter in question. Consequently, the matter was taken up by a Court of Appeal bench comprising Acting President of the Court of Appeal Mohammad Lafa Tahir and Court of Appeal Justice Priyantha Fernando. Making relevant submissions, the counsel for the petitioner stated that the High Court Judge of Puttalam has not followed the formal procedures set out for charging attorneys at law with contempt of court. After considering the facts presented in court, the Court of Appeal deemed that the matter at hand is fit and proper to issue notice upon the respondents and to grant interim relief. Accordingly, an interim injunction was issued by the Court of Appeal ordering the Wariupuli Prison Superintendent to release the attorney at law currently in remand custody. The case will be summoned again on the 24th of April before the Court of Appeal. The Bar Association submitted this writ petition because we do not want the harmony between the bench and the bar to be negatively affected. We must ensure that the law is protected. Meanwhile, issuing a statement over the matter, the Bar Association of Sri Lanka claims that it further resolved that the provisions of the Contempt of Court Act No. 8 of 2024 must be revisited and to make necessary representations to amend or rescind the piece of legislation in question.
With that, here's a look at more news across the island in brief.
Sri Lankan underworld figure Amila Sampath, alias Rotumba Amila, has been arrested by Russian law enforcement authorities in Russia. According to reports, information in this regard have been conveyed to the Criminal Investigation Department of Sri Lanka for onward legal action. The police revealed that several complaints have been reported across the island over acts of violence and violations of election laws in connection with the 2025 local government elections. Meanwhile, a criminal complaint regarding an attempted assault with verbal threats has been received by the Agalawatha police yesterday. The Agalawatha police are conducting further investigation into the incident. Additionally, 5 cases related to violations of election laws have also been reported across the island. In other local news, a 29-year-old youth from Kundasale has committed suicide by jumping off from the 31st floor of a leading hotel in Colombo yesterday at around 8:30 p.m. His remains were found this morning on the ground floor of the hotel. A note reportedly written by the deceased addressed to his mother was found among his possessions. Police suspect he may have been suffering from depression.
Welcome back. You're joining Other Derana, Sri Lanka's most trusted news source. Now, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation announced a reduction in the prices of petrol with effect from midnight tonight. The price of petrol octane 92 and petrol octane 95 will come down by 10 rupees per litre. Accordingly, the new price of petrol octane 92 and petrol octane 95 will stand at 299 rupees and 361 rupees per litre respectively. However, as per the latest fuel price revision, there will be no changes to the prices of other types of fuel. Meanwhile, Laughs Gas PLC, one of the two largest liquefied petroleum gas suppliers, decided to increase its domestic LP gas cylinder prices with effect from midnight tonight. Accordingly, the price of a 12.5 kilogram cylinder has been increased by 420 rupees to 4,100 rupees. Meanwhile, a 5 kilogram cylinder has been increased by 168 rupees. As such, the new price stands at 1,645 rupees. In other business news, industry leaders in Sri Lanka emphasized the need for regulatory reforms to improve the ease of doing business and reduce construction costs. They believe these measures are essential to supporting the country's tourism sector and fostering the growth of small and medium-scale enterprises. Speaking at a panel discussion during the CPM Management Insight Summit 2025 held recently in Colombo, industry leaders highlighted the importance of these reforms in driving economic development.
How do you think Sri Lanka can enhance financial infrastructure to better support small and medium-sized enterprises as we talk about export competitiveness? And how can businesses, government collaborate to optimize financial resources for sustainable economic growth we were talking about, and the role of financial institutions in fostering innovation and supporting emerging industries?
One of the things is the ease of doing business. In UAE, all digitalized. It's very easy, transparent process in place. Anyone can easily start a business within weeks. So that kind of infrastructure is required for Sri Lanka. And then for the SME sector again, access of finance is critical as well. There are various financing solutions available for SME sector because they also kind of sub-sector the SME sector itself, and they support various critical aspects within the SME sector so that they can really grow. In terms of the financing solution, we have to seriously think about AI-based financing solution.
For Sri Lanka, what do we really need to ensure that we have the best for longer term revenue generation, and also as a key driver of Sri Lanka's economy, how should Sri Lanka look at our strategies?
There is a bit of a misconception from the government as to the importance or the significance of tourism. Tourism essentially is the one that bridged the gap since the financial crisis. But also there's another factor to it. No one is really investing in tourism right now. There's not much since the end of the war that has happened. There's no real private equity type investments that has come. So why is the question? We talk so much about tourism, but really nothing has happened, honestly, in my point of view. Given our potential, actual players are not making money, and because of that no one is investing. And that's because in Sri Lanka the cost of construction is much higher than all our competitors around us. So why it's high is because most of our raw materials in construction are imported, and there are duty structures along that. If you can take that out, and if you can bring our cost of production to less than our competitors, then we can sell a similar product at a lower price and compete. That can transform this economy single-handedly. Right now I think there's no other low-hanging fruit other than tourism.
How the regulator can support here in bringing in more simpler policy and clearer policy.
At the moment there are some unregulated financial institutions, but for lending there are no any regulations. Actually bill or the act has been prepared and it is now on hold, and I am sure at any moment in the recent future it will be enacted. That act will cover the unregulated lending institutions.
Whether Sri Lanka is at the maximum level of development that the present productive capacities can deliver.
At the end of the day, Sri Lanka is just 22 million people, 65,000 square feet, and an $80 billion economy. There's only limited things we can do. So we have to prioritize which areas we will get the maximum profit out of and where we have an advantage. As prices of most products, we put barriers and try to produce internally where the quality may not be good or the prices are high. It eventually results in the cost of living goes up. The other is tariffs. Most of our exports are at a very thin margin. So when the import costs go up for most of the materials, we automatically lose out. So these are certain areas where we can do to become more competitive.
Now, the Dhaka Stock Exchange and the Pakistan Stock Exchange, together with the Colombo Stock Exchange, signed a tripartite memorandum of understanding recently to strengthen regional capital market cooperation. The agreement seeks to create an exchange forum to facilitate technology development and sharing, human resource sharing, product development, regulatory collaboration, investor protection, and knowledge exchange across the three markets. Commenting on this initiative, DSC Chairman Mominul says that through the mutual exchange of resources and experience and joint investment in technology, the stock exchanges will be able to play an effective role in building efficient and strong capital markets in the respective countries. The Managing Director and CEO of the Pakistani Stock Exchange said that through the partnership with the counterparts in Colombo and Dhaka, they aim to elevate market standards, foster sustainable growth, and deliver greater value to all market participants. Minister of Transport, Highways, Ports and Civil Aviation Bimal Ratnayaka revealed that plans are underway to expand domestic flights between Jaffna International Airport and the Bandaranaike International Airport in Katunayake in a bid to encourage domestic tourists. Speaking to media, the minister highlighted the need to amend the existing regulation concerning domestic flights in Sri Lanka.
A preliminary decision has been made, especially for domestic tourists in Sri Lanka. Residents of Jaffna usually travel to Katunayake Airport to fly overseas. We intend to expand domestic flights between Jaffna International Airport and Bandaranaike International Airport in Katunayake. To achieve this, we hope to amend the existing regulations concerning domestic flights in Sri Lanka. These regulations must be in line with the nation's domestic flights. To that end, we believe private aircraft owners and companies in Sri Lanka will be able to bring planes here. They will be able to earn profits while serving the people. Most importantly, the Bandaranaike International Airport is an international airport, and next to us we have the neighbouring India, which has a much larger population. Although the Katunayake Airport has been declared as an international airport, a few significant improvements are still required. To carry out these development projects, the airport authorities have a detailed master plan.
That's all the news we have for you tonight. Thank you. Have a great night.